Hello everybody, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, as you saw by the title, we will be doing a half drugstore and half high-end face, full face of half and half. So half my face right now is drugstore and the other half is high-end. So let me know which one you think is which right now before you keep watching. Some things you can tell very prominently, but you might not be able to. Maybe I could just tell because I did my makeup. But let me know if you got it right. For sure. This video is going to take forever, so we're just going to get started. Okay, so we are going to start with my face, but we are going to, with my eyes, because I really want to talk to you about these palettes because they are actually dupes. But we're going to start with this thing. So the first thing is this Tatcha water cream. So it's refreshing and anti-aging, pore perfecting Japanese wild rose. I don't know, I just have this little sample that they sent with my purchase, so I really wanted to try that on the high-end side. And then the drugstore side, we will be trying the e.l.f. Hello Hydration Face Cream with hyaluronic acid and peptide complex. So if you guys know, this came out and everybody loves it. I haven't tried it yet, but they sent a sample again with a purchase, so I'm really excited to try both of these. This will be drugstore, this will be high-end, so just so you know. I'm gonna squeeze some of this baby out from e.l.f. I don't love the scent. It's not a terrible scent. It's just not my favorite. It feels good on the face, though. It does really feel hydrating. I really, really like it. So while that baby does whatever, we're going to pull out the Tatcha water cream. All right, so we're just going to squeeze as much as we can out of this baby. We're going to apply it to this face. Again, I might have put too much. Oh, well. Now they're equal. Ooh, I do not like the smell of that. Okay, I guess I don't like the smell of Japanese wild rose because that does not smell good. All right, right off the bat, the e.l.f. one feels a little bit more moisturizing. This one feels a little bit like almost greasier, like more liquidy. I guess this is a water cream, so it's a little bit different. And they're not necessarily dupes, I guess, because they're not really the same kind of products. This is refreshing. This is hydrating. I don't really know. It does feel refreshing. I don't like the smell, so it already turns me off a little bit. I like the smell of the e.l.f. one better. And yeah, I like the way it's making my face look. It looks good. Okay, so let's move on to eyeshadow palettes. So I have dupes here. This is the Anastasia Subculture palette. I actually used up a bunch of the shades, and I some of them broke, whatever. Some of them I used up. Not really important. But this palette looks exactly like the e.l.f. Opposites Attract palette. I don't know if you guys noticed, but these are 100% dupes for each other. Anastasia formula is very powdery, and it's really easy to hit pan on these shades. That's why I've had pan on so many. I like the e.l.f. formula. I don't know if I like it better. I like both of them equally, probably, but I wouldn't have purchased Subculture if I had the Opposites Attract one already, because I wouldn't have needed both. So we're gonna do a couple of swatches, and we'll show you which ones are dupes for each other. Not the entire palette. Obviously, there's more shades in the e.l.f. one, which is so much better for cheaper. And then in this one right here, some of the shades were not duped in the e.l.f. one, but they're not in here anymore, so it's cool. Whatever. So the first one is Cube, which is this white shade right here. There's a little bit left in here, which I'm going to swatch on my hand right here. If you go into the e.l.f. palette, the shade Low Key right here is definitely a dupe for the other one, and here it is right here. They're very, very similar. They both give like that purpley kind of sheen to it. They look very, very similar, if not the same. So those are pretty prominent dupes. And then the next shade, we're just gonna skip Dawn, but Dawn was like a cream matte shade, and actually it was the same shade as Fresh right here. It's literally just a cream matte shade that you can set your eye with, so it was literally just that. So those were big dupes for each other. And then Destiny in this Subculture palette does not have a dupe, but Adorn does. So Adorn is this shimmer right here. And we're gonna do Spicy with the e.l.f. on the pointer finger right here, which is the same exact shade. They're pretty similar, I think they do the same exact thing on the eye. So this one's Subculture and this one's e.l.f. You can see the difference a little bit. They have like a smidge bit different of an undertone. This one's a little bit more copper. This one's a little bit more copper. This one's a little bit more brown. But other than that, they are the exact same. So that is a big dupe there. So Axis, they kind of mix Axis and Untamed, which I'm very thankful for, because Axis and Untamed are like sisters. So I'm just going to swatch those two right there, which is Wise, which is kind of like a mix of both of them. We'll use this finger, which is kind of like a mix of both of them. But I really liked it because who's going to use both of these shades up? They're like the same. So here is the e.l.f. one right here. Wow, that was really bad. Right there. You can see it's not as pigmented, but I kind of like it better because these you go put on the eye and you're like, psh, and this one you can build up, and I really, really like that one. I do like the Subculture shades too, but I just like the e.l.f. one. I don't know better, but I like it equally, I think. And again, I say that if I would have had the e.l.f. one, I wouldn't have purchased the Subculture at all. So we're just going to skip over to New Wave, which is dupes. So we have Roxy and New Wave, which are both being duped. So here is Roxy and here is New Wave. These are stained. And then in this palette, a dupe is Sassy and Saucy. Sassy and Saucy. So here's the Sassy. And even a little bit of Cheeky. Cheeky, like those two mix will probably be Roxy for sure. And then here's Saucy down here. Which these two are not perfect. You can see they're very, very similar. They're not perfect dupes. I think that they're close enough that, again, I'm fine with it. I'm like this, the e.l.f. palette would suffice for my craving of these. These are a little bit hard because, again, these go on the eye and they're like just poof, and these are very buildable. So you're getting people who are more with experience. People with more experience are more likely to pick for expensive palette like the Anastasia palettes, whereas people who are less experienced are more likely to buy the cheap palettes. So it's good that the e.l.f. ones are buildable. We're just gonna swatch Edge. And we're going to swatch that with the shade Happy. Again, very, very similar to me. They're just close enough. They're not super exact, but they're close enough. Again, you can, once you hold them up, look at them together, you can see the dupes for each other besides the purples. The purples are what throws it off. And obviously that's what's extra in this palette, in the e.l.f. palette, but they are dupes. So let's get this look on the road. We are going to take Fresh and set the eye over here from the e.l.f. palette. I'm not gonna hold it up because we would be here all day. And then we're gonna take, let me find, these brushes are pretty similar. We are gonna do, all right, so we're gonna go with Edge on this side, which is that yellow shade. I don't know what shimmer shade we're gonna do yet, but I know I want this one in my crease. The Subculture one does not have many options to do the crease, but we're gonna go with this yellow shade. And then we're gonna go with Happy from the e.l.f. palette. And we're just gonna go ahead and jump to the shimmer. So we have two similar shimmer brushes right here. We're gonna go ahead and put Spicy on this eye. So we're still not using that one. We're gonna put on the entire eye because I really want this to just be the focus. I'm actually gonna spray my brush. I'll spray both of them just so they're equal, of course. I think all shimmers look better when they spray them, no matter high-end drugstore at all. So we're going to start with Adorn on this brush and not spray it at first. Super pigmented. And then we're going to spray her because I love when this shade is sprayed. Can barely tell the difference. The only thing is that this crease shade is a little bit more orange. This one's a little bit more yellow. So you can tell that, but other than that, pretty freaking similar. So what we're gonna do is actually spice it up a smidge bit. I have two kind of outer corner brushes that I think will work for the outer corner. They're a little different, but we're gonna take Wise from the e.l.f. palette and Axis and Untamed from the Subculture palette and just blend that in the, oh my gosh, e.l.f., that was pigmented. Just blend that in the outer corner, just to spice it up a little bit. And then we're gonna do the same with Untamed and Axis. We're gonna mix them. All right, and then we're gonna go back with the crease brushes and just blend it out in the crease. Nice, 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 nice. And then obviously we'll come back to do the lower lash line. I think they're pretty freaking similar, if I do say so myself. All right, anyway, let's move on to primer. So primer, I have two hydrating primers here. I have the Milani Prime Perfection Face Primer Hydrating. I love this face primer. Oh my gosh, it is so beautiful. I'm gonna put it on. It is very, very thick. So this one is not an exact dupe for the high-end version of it, but I think that if you like a hydrating primer, oh my gosh, this is just gorgeous. It just lays down a beautiful like surface for you to apply makeup on, and it makes the makeup look gorgeous. And then for the high-end side, I actually haven't tried this yet. I know, I'm sorry. But this is the Tarte Base Tape Hydrating Primer. And it is super, super liquidy. So that's already a little bit opposite from the Milani one. But it feels so good. Ooh, once you rub it in, it starts to get thick. It smells like coconut. I love it. It starts to get a little bit thicker. I don't like it with this Tatcha thing. Come on, Tatcha. I don't think these are exact dupes for each other, but I think that if you want a good hydrating primer, this one's really, really good. And if you don't want to buy this one's really, really good. All right, and then let's go to foundation. So again, these foundations are not necessarily dupes. They're just kind of like my foundations right now. So we have the Fenty Beauty foundation. I have the shade 240. So this is a very super matte foundation. If you guys have heard, so I'm really glad I'm putting it on the very hydrated side, just because I don't want to be dry as crap. So we're doing that side, and then for the Drugstore side, we are using my Maybelline Matte and Poreless, but the shade is too dark for me, so we're gonna mix in a little bit of the e.l.f. Flawless Finish foundation. I have the shade 322 Warm Honey and the shade Linen. So we're going to blend that real quick, and then we'll be right back. Again, I don't think they're necessarily dupes for each other, but I do think I like the matte and poreless one better, especially mixed with the Flawless Finish one. Oh, this one's the best. Next is concealer, and for concealer, I have another sample for the high-end side. A lot of these are samples. I'm so sorry, but whatever. The sample for this one is the Naked Skin. I'm really excited to try this because, again, everyone talks about it. I'm going to use the shade Medium Light Neutral. Again, everyone talks about it. I hear it's awesome, so we're gonna try that. Is this too dark? Oh no, it's pretty good. Most samples I get, look, this wouldn't even cover 2 eyes. Luckily we're doing this because I wouldn't have been able to wear it on both sides of my face. But on this Drugstore side, we're gonna use the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer, which I love. It's not my favorite concealer. Like, I don't think I'll repurchase it after I finish this baby up, but I do like it. It's not bad at all. So we're just going to use the same foundation brush. And then we're going to just use the sponge. You can still see the line. I'm just going to try to blend this together just so it's not crazy, crazy. Alright, and so for setting powder, again, we have another stupid sample. I don't have a high-end setting powder. I don't know if I'd ever buy a high-end setting powder. I'd probably buy a high-end step for every single makeup product except setting powder, just because the Drugstore has such good setting powders. But this is the Powder On Supergoop invisible setting powder with SPF 45 in translucent, which is really cool that it has SPF in it because not a lot do. So we're actually going to use a smaller kind of brush and really just pack that everywhere, because I like to use a loose powder, but we don't have one today, and we're not going to use one on the high-end the Drugstore side either. It's pretty and it doesn't feel like overwhelming. It looks really nice on the face. And then for the other side, the Drugstore side, we're going to be using my Essence All About Matte Powder. We're going to use a big fluffy brush for this. I think because this powder is so light, you can see they look a little bit more similar now. You'll never guess which one was which. So for bronzer, I actually think that these two are dupes. This is the Fenty Beauty bronzer in the shade Caramel Cutie. And this is the Wet n Wild Color Icon bronzer in the shade What Shady Beaches. I love both of these bronzers, but I really feel like you don't need both. I think the Fenty Beauty one is the same as any bronzer I have. I don't know if the shades are exact dupes, but I know that the product is, yeah, the shades are not exact dupes, but the products are very similar, the same amount of buttery creaminess that like you want in a bronzer. Okay, and then for the Fenty Beauty side, we're going to use this brush right here, just to kind of show you. I think the product is very smooth, very easy to blend, super nice, but I don't think I'd purchase the full size because I have the Wet n Wild one. The shades, again, are not exact dupes, but there are a bunch of other shades in the Fenty Beauty one and a bunch of other shades in the Wet n Wild one, so I'm sure you'll find one that matches you somewhere there. And then on the other side, we're going to use a big fluffy brush, and we're going to use the Wet n Wild one. Again, I think they're just very similar in the way that they apply. Super gorgeous. I love it. So the next is blush. And so for blush, you guys know my favorite blushes are both the Tarte and the e.l.f. blushes. I don't think that they are exact dupes for each other, but I think that you get the they both last really long. They both are beautiful on the face, and they both don't seep away like into nothingness. So I really, really enjoy that. We're gonna mix the shades Twinkle Pink and Candid Coral from the e.l.f. ones, and just so we can try to get the shade Rah Rah right here, which is kind of like a corally pinky right here, just so we kind of have similar cheeks here. And then we're going to use two different brushes. We're going to mix the e.l.f. one with this brush and the Tarte one over here. So next is, let's skip highlighter, save highlighter. Let's do brows. Okay, again, I don't think these are dupes for each other, but these are just two of my favorites. So I actually just recently got the Precisely My Brow Pencil in the shade 4.5, and I am sold. This is so beautiful. I'm obsessed with this. Yeah, I got it on sale for like 12 bucks or something like that. They were having a weekly wow at Sephora, and I needed it. I did not need it, but I just finished up my Wet n Wild one, so I was like, I'm gonna get a new one. So I treated myself to this one, and it is just so pretty. I feel like it just does the brows so nice. I love it. I don't know if I'd repurchase it because I really do love this e.l.f. one, and I don't think that I need the Precisely My Brow one. So I do love it, and it is beautiful, but I feel like this one just isn't very different. The shades look a little bit different, but I feel like this one's just not different enough for me to justify spending $20-some on a brow pencil. So I really like both of these. The shades look a little bit different. I just realized that, but I love both of these. All right, so then let's go to the lower lash line. I'm gonna take two flat like shader brushes, and we're gonna take the shades Wise and the shades Untamed and Access on this side, Wise on this side, and just put those across the lower lash line. So we're gonna use pink over here. Look crazy. Then we're gonna go back and just take our blending brushes with the shade Edge. I don't know if it was supposed to be Edge or New Wave, but we kind of just did whatever right now. All right, and then we're gonna take Happy over here. And there we go. Basically the same eye, completely different palette. Different spectrum. So for mascara, we are using the Clinique High Impact Mascara and the Essence Get Big Lashes Volume Boost Mascara. I was going to use my new Buxom Get Big Tease Plumping Mascara, but this one is just not as good as the Essence one or the Clinique one, so I wanted to use the ones that I actually think are amazing, instead of the one that was like meh. So we're just going to do Essence obviously on this side. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we will do Clinique on the other side. As you can see, they're just both so beautiful. They actually look pretty similar. The wands are just not similar at all. This one is just very huge and this one's not. So that's why I wouldn't call them dupes, but I guess, I mean, they make the lashes look very similar, so whatever you want to call it. All right, so next let's move on to highlighter. And again, these are not dupes. These are just two products that I really, really like. And these, a lot of them kind of end up looking like dupes on the skin. These definitely won't. This is the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter in the shade number 10, Be My Highlight. And this is the Ofra highlighter in Rodeo Drive. I just got this and I'm obsessed. So beautiful. These are just both products that I really, really love that I wanted to show you. This is obviously Drugstore, this is obviously Highend, but I think they both look differently beautiful on the skin. And so if you're someone who likes to have your natural days and then you like to have your bold days, I really recommend both of these. I love them so much. So we're going to use this brush on this side. Just kind of blend it out here. I think it just gives you a nice glow. Do half the nose, half the lip. I think it just gives a nice, beautiful glow on the skin. Yeah, and then this one I'm going to use my fan brush for. So this one is just blinding, bold. You can see they're very different. This one's a little bit more gold, this one's a little bit more silver, but they are different. And this one is just super, super blinding on the face. So before I keep going, I'm just going to take a big fluffy brush and blend in the makeup just to make it a little bit nicer. And then again, this is the Ofra one and this is the Essence one. So just both gorgeous, just differently gorgeous. Oh my gosh, I need some inner corner highlight because I look like a chicken. Alright, I don't have a shade to put in the inner corner, so we're just gonna let it rock. Actually, we're gonna test this Rodeo Drive in the inner corner. Then we're gonna just use my color switcheroonie right here. And switch that off, and then we're going to use Essence Pure Nude. No! We're going to use Essence Pure Nude in this corner right here. Again, both beautiful, just different. Alright, so lastly is lips, and again, these are not dupes for each other by any means, but this is the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb in the shade Fussy, and this is my favorite. Fenty Beauty has my favorite glosses of life, so we're just going to apply that. Nothing compares to this at all. I like the Buxom ones, and I'm thinking about getting a couple more of the Buxom ones, but those are lip plumping gloss, and so I really like that these are not plumping and they don't do anything plumping to your lips other than make them look juicy. So here's Fussy, and then I really like these Essence Shine 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 Wet Look lip glosses. I have the shades number 2, Smile, Sparkle, and Shine. I really think that these are gorgeous as well. I probably would pick up another one if like I had the chance. I mean, if I'm gonna get a new gloss and there's a Fenty one out, I'm gonna get the Fenty one. But I think these are both beautiful glosses, and again, this is a great option from the drugstore if you already have the Fenty ones and you're looking for more, or if you want one from the drugstore. Doesn't really match with the eye look, but that's okay. This one obviously is a lot more pink than this one, but this one's supposed to be universal shade. That's why it's not super, super pink. I just dropped it on the floor. And then this one obviously is just supposed to be the pink version of it. And so I really, really like both of these. And then I actually do not have a dupe for setting spray. But really, guys, that is it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you got it right. You guessed which side correctly was the Highend and which one was the drugstore. Of course, comment down below. They look pretty freaking similar. Pretty freaking similar. The highlighters are probably the most different thing, and that's because they're just different shades, but everything else, right on. The lips look a little bit different as well, but other than that, nobody can tell. All right, bye. Bye, guys. Let me know if you're going to pick up any of these products, what kind of sold you, or what you think like is a really crazy dupe that you've never heard of. Let me know all the juice, all the tea. Bye guys.